Louisiana Senator John Kennedy made waves once again in this classic video where he interrogated a former bank CEO on a deal gone wrong. Hello and welcome back to Resist the Mainstream. I'm Steve Inman, reporting the news that the mainstream won't. Don't forget to subscribe and, of course, like and hit that notification bell to keep up to date with our latest classic videos. Well, Senator John Kennedy is known for his direct approach to questioning when it comes to these kinds of hearings. While somewhat casual, Kennedy asked the simplest version of his questions, hoping for a simple response that always tends to leave those in the hot seat stumbling for words. In this case, Greg Becker, former CEO of Silicon Valley Bank, was grilled over his poor investment in hedge funds that eventually led to his bank collapsing.
When interest rates go up, the price of government bonds, especially long-term, long-maturity government bonds, goes down, doesn't it?
Yes.
And you don't have to be Einstein's cousin to know that, do you?
No, you don't.
Okay. Now, your bank had 55% of its assets invested in government bonds, didn't it?
Roughly, yes.
And the Federal Reserve raised interest rates, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
And the value of your assets went down dramatically, didn't they?
Yes, it did.
You know, as the CEO of a major bank, you would think Mr. Becker would have had clear access to all the insider information and major investments going within his company. Pelosi had some insider information, but we won't go there. But after all, as Kennedy pointed out, the profits of the bank directly affect Becker's yearly bonus, with an addition to his salary, was well within the seven-figure range. Hedge funds are basically bad gambles, high risk, high reward. Often they're purchased using liquid assets or borrowed money, meaning when the gamble doesn't pay out the way you intended, you lose millions of dollars, and in this case, your business. Kennedy continued to ask simple questions, knowing that the full answer would be completely nuanced. The direct answer would make a fool out of Becker, leaving him to place blame elsewhere and dodge further questions as seen here.
And you didn't have hedges, did you?
Senator, as previously mentioned, the decision around hedges was made by our Asset Liability Committee.
Mr. Becker, you were the CEO of the bank. You didn't have hedges, did you?
Senator, there were hedges that were put in place, but I don't recall the details around when they were put in place.
You're the CEO and you had 55% of your assets in government bonds, and you don't know whether you were hedged or not?
Senator, as previously mentioned, I don't have access to my SVB documents, so
well, I know that, and I wasn't CEO. You weren't hedged. Now, if you'd bought those hedges, that would have cut into your profits, wouldn't it?
Senator, I don't know the details of the decisions that the team were evaluating.
But if you bought a hedge, the hedge cost money, and it would have decreased your profits, wouldn't it? Do hedges cost money?
Yes, they do.
And so if you bought hedges, you'd have less money, right?
Senator, it depends upon, yes, they would cost money, but it depends upon how the hedges
And if you'd made less money, that would have affected your bonus, wouldn't it?
Senator, our compensation was predominantly long-term in nature, and so I know there's been lots of discussions about compensation being short-term.
Mr. Becker, you made a really stupid bet that went bad, didn't you?
Senator,
and the taxpayers of America had to pick up the tab for your stupidity, didn't they?
Senator, there were a series of events, unprecedented events that occurred that led us to where we are today.
No, this wasn't unprecedented. This was bone deep, down to the marrow, stupid. You put all your eggs in one basket. You put all your eggs in one basket. And unless you were living on the International Space Station, you could see that interest rates were rising and you weren't hedged.
Finally, Kennedy became fed up with the responsibility game being played by Becker and speaks frankly, claiming Becker had made a stupid bet that went horribly wrong. Kennedy's frustration was backed by the fact that when these types of deals fail and banks holding citizens' money collapse as well, it is left to the taxpayer to pick up the tab, as Kennedy put it. I remember paying several taxes on these types of things. You know, it's instances like this that lead the general public to distrust the banking industry, as it often takes the hard-earned money of the people and gambles it like a Vegas tourist. Sure, sometimes it may pay off and the deal goes as hoped, but ultimately it is the CEOs and investors that receive most of the benefits rather than the people whose money was borrowed in the first place. The house always wins. So how do you feel about big banks failing over bad investments? Should CEOs be held more accountable, like jail time? Maybe even more when their companies lose big? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, this is Resist the Mainstream, reporting the news that the mainstream won't. Make sure to subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell for the latest updates on new content and, of course, classic owns as we just witnessed. Take care. Until next time, we'll see you then.